Today, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, an estimated 1 in 5 U.S. school-age children are diagnosed with some form of autism. Vice President Justin Davis of Answers for Autism joins me now to discuss autism here in our community. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Talk to us a little bit about your organization and how you're helping families who have someone that's been diagnosed with autism.
Great, no, thanks. Answers for Autism is founded roughly in 2000, about 13 years ago, basically by a group of parents who had children with those on the autism spectrum. And over those years, we've wanted to help promote education and then help fund services for those dealing with autism spectrum children, or adults in some cases, to get through and help navigate some of the unknowns still with the overall autism disease itself.
Okay, and we talked a little bit about how many are being diagnosed with autism. How does Indiana compare with other states?
We have a little bit more common or more it's a little bit, more cases in Indiana than we do nationwide. I mean, nationwide, it's 1 in every 88 kids. But I think within Indiana, it's a little bit, the ratio is a little bit higher than that, especially among boys. Boys tend to have, are diagnosed more than girls are.
Do we know why?
I don't know why. I'm sure there's a lot of smarter people than I out there that are looking into it and researching it, but it seems to be a combination of genetics and also environmental factors that could trigger autism.
What are some of the things that you can do to help families? What type of services or programs?
Well, what we do is we provide educational and funding for services that provide direct services to those with autism. So our main goal is to provide educational services and fund programs that these other organizations may do. So what we do on an annual basis, twice a year actually, is we provide grants to these organizations. We try to do as much as we can for these folks, for any nonprofit Indiana-based organization that works with autism persons. We provide these grants and help them fund the services that they're providing.
Okay. How do you feel about the stories in the news of people with autism succeeding, with some maybe high-profile jobs or responsibilities?
Oh,
it's there.
Those are great stories for us to hear as a parent of those with autism. It's great to see that those success stories out there, because there are times when you're like, how are we going to get through this? What's the next step? And having somebody already break through in some instances some of these barriers and say, yes, somebody who is diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder can lead a life of the normal neurotypical person. So we're trying to break through those barriers of saying, oh, this person has autism, he or she can't do anything. That's far from the truth, and hearing those stories helps communicate that people with autism spectrum disorders are just as normal as everybody else.
Yeah, and I'm sure they need to hear those kind of stories, because I'm sure at times they feel maybe discouraged that there's a lot of challenges to overcome, and to hear that it can be successful and you can succeed.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then having those examples, and then also educating the rest of the public who aren't as familiar or don't know somebody directly with autism to show, hey, having autism is not necessarily a life-ending disease. You can still live with it, you can still prosper and be a functioning part of society.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the information. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
All right. I'm Taylor Bennett for Comcast Newsmakers.